Morning on my blue collar workers, on my YouTubers, on my union workers, on my union brothers. It's another day for me. It's Friday today. I've been at school all week. We had advanced systems and advanced rigging all week. So yesterday I took my final for low pressure steam. I don't know. It went all right, man. Some of it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff basically just because there's so many different types of steam systems. A lot of them are not really in use, but I guess we gotta learn. We gotta learn about them for in case we ever have to work on them, like update them or take them out, so that we know the different components. So it's just a lot of different components. So I think the thing I struggled with the most was doing drawings and stuff from memory. Like there's a lot of fittings and stuff you got to put on these drawings that it's hard to kind of remember exactly where everything goes. Like there's valves that go in certain places. And I think that'll come with time. We have next year, I think we take our low pressure steam test. So I think we do low pressure steam, gas and oil test for our license next year. So everything that we do in the apprenticeship program is basically like it compounds every year. So we'll start it first year, we kind of went over basic systems. Next year, we went over a little bit more advanced systems. This year's advanced systems. And next year, we start preparing for our test for the city and state license test. So I can definitely tell there's a lot of stuff that I'm picking up that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain it. Like you don't realize that you're learning stuff until you start knowing things that, like you read something, you're like, oh, okay, I understand that, or understand this, or understand how this goes. The advanced rigging, it's went pretty good for the most part. Like I do a lot of rigging at work. A lot of my journeyman and foreman, they're pretty good. They're pretty good at showing things. So I've done a lot of stuff out in the field that's comparable to what we're doing in class. So a lot of times people it seems like we get grouped up for our projects. A lot of time people tend to look to me for how do you want to do this? But I ain't nobody. I'm just another apprentice. But I've done a little bit of this in the field. So a lot of times when you get into a situation where you're trying to rig some pipe up to lift, a lot of times it's going to be going in awkward spots. So you got to learn different ways to maneuver the pipe. Once it's not just a straight up pick, you're picking it, pulling it over, get it into place. So there's a lot of times when you do that it's really good knowledge. And when you've done it, I'm the type of person where I don't necessarily learn. I'm not really book smart as far as being able to remember things that I read, but when I've done it a couple times, then it's always in there. Like it's knowledge base I can pull from. So I don't know, man. Overall, school's going all right, man. It's a little bit frustrating. I'm not really a test taking type of individual, so when it comes to tests, I freeze up a lot. I have a hard time memorizing stuff. Or some classes, the instructors tend to give us a little bit more insight what we need to know for the test, and in the advanced systems class, not so much. Just kind of just throw a bunch of information at us and then give us a test on some of the stuff, and they don't really tell us what we need to know. So sometimes I feel like we learn a bunch of stuff that's unnecessary for passing the test, although it's all good information. It makes it hard to focus on passing the test when you're learning about something that's not on the test. So that's my little struggle. But other than that, it's been good, man. Back to work. Well, actually, back to work tomorrow. I'm a weekend job, but back to work on Monday. So we'll see what they accomplished in a week without me there. Probably be a different place than they were when I left. But yeah, man, other than that, it's just a little, this is just a little update video. Really not much new. I ain't really got no key topics to push today. It's just kind of just the regular old grind, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, and things work out in the end. I'm just looking forward to this turning out as a journeyman at some point. And then the one good thing is we was talking about, this is something that might be a good topic, but so when you're in the union, they have negotiations I don't know, for us, I think it's every 3 years, but I think that could be determined by the contract negotiations. So what happens is that our union representatives are negotiating with the contractors for our next package, for the next set term of however many years, what our package is going to be. And I I guess they're negotiating it now, and then at one of these days coming up here, I guess I just found out we'll all get a letter, and everybody will go. Like everybody from our local goes. Like we don't go to work that day. We go down to a specific destination where we can all fit in, and the union leadership will come out with the package that they negotiated with contractors. I think I heard that they'll have a couple of different options, a couple of different things that they could do, and then we get to vote on that. And then if we vote on it and it gets the majority vote, then it goes into effect right then. If we don't agree on it, then I guess there's like a cooling off period, and then they'll try to renegotiate a better deal. Like it's not just go strike right away. Like there's some give and take. But I didn't know that everybody got to go. Like I thought that we had to wait until like our designated union meeting to go vote on it, and then whatever the package was, we would go in and vote to allocate the funds to whatever things we wanted to allocate it at. So kind of interesting. We'll see what happens here, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting. I still can't vote. I think 4th and 5th years are the only ones that can vote. I'm still technically on my 3rd year still, so no voting, but just to see the whole process and how it works out. And then also there were some things I've been kind of keeping an eye on politics, and I try not to put the politics on here. I know I'd probably get more views if I did, but I just feel like everybody should be able to have their own say in what they believe. I ain't trying to put my opinion on anybody else, because I'm a weird individual. Like I did prison time, and I have different purposes behind why I think the way I think. So I'm not trying to project on anybody else. But as far as politics, like there is a couple things I was seeing with the new hopefully incoming labor secretary that Trump nominated. She's pro-union, and she was getting some backlash from some politicians that I didn't see being anti-union. So now I kind of seen that they are. So anybody knows or doesn't know anything about this right to work legislation. Also, the House just introduced a bill to pass national right to work, which right to work sounds good. Like everybody got a right to work. Really what it is an attack on unions. Like it basically tries to eat up our money. They say that non-union people, like you can basically get union benefits without paying union dues. Well, that sounds like a good thing too. Like, oh yeah, I'll get all the benefits without having to pay anything. Well, what that does is that dries up the money. Like the things that we don't have for no reason. Like we put in a certain amount of money. So we put a certain amount of money from our checks to our training centers so that we can build up our training centers, so we can add things that the contractors are looking for. So that makes us all more employable and more educated on different piping practices, new technology coming out, state and city codes, so that we can pass a licensing test. These are all things that we pay for. The government doesn't give us money to do this. We allocate some of the money that we make towards our training fund. So if it went right to work nationally, we would have to let anybody come in, whether they're have any skills or not. We couldn't tell them, no, you can't get these benefits. So if they were working in the same space, they basically be a bunch of rats. People that come in, they don't want to pay no dues, but they want to get the benefits of what we've all put in money for. And usually it seems like most of the southern states, I think they said there's like 26 states that have right to work, and it's mostly the southern states. A lot of them don't have the same licensing, the same requirements in order. So it's really not as safe, because we have a lot more in the licensing is making sure that you have a competent person that's building these systems, that's putting the stuff together. If you have people that don't have licenses, like they don't have as much training. They don't know as much about the system. They can make a system that's going to be prone to failures, prone to safety factors. So I think in the trades, especially in building trades, like it really is kind of important to have a set standard, a bar that you have to pass in order to be able to work on these systems, because it is dangerous. Like steam systems are dangerous. You could basically be building a bomb if you don't do it right. But it's just kind of weird that people think they don't really look into things. So they hear right to work and they think, oh, that's a good idea. Or people have like a bad idea about unions based on different types of unions. So there's a couple different types of unions. There's private sector, there's public sector. Public sector is like government employees. They have a union. So what does that do for them? That protects them, protects their wages, but it also protects them from being fired or laid off if they're doing something wrong. Teachers union, somewhat similar. Like that's another one that, like, it protects them, protects their benefits, protects their pay. But if they're not performing properly, it protects them from being fired or laid off. So that kind of gives unions a bad rap for people that don't know anything about unions. Like, I'm not saying that it's wrong that they have a union. Everybody has the right to be able to collectively bargain for a better wage. However, I feel like in any job you should be held accountable if you're not producing, and that's kind of where building trades. All of our unions, like if you're not performing, or if you mess something up on a job, down the road you're not going to be working there anymore. Now the union will find you another job. And, sometimes there's people that just can't get it together. Like they're lazy, they're whatever. Usually them are the ones that are not working all year round. They're usually laid off the most. The union tries to find them jobs. But, I feel like if you've been laid off from a couple different contractors, word gets around and nobody's going to want to pick you up. Or if they do pick you up, you'll be the first one gone. So there's some type of punishment for not performing. I don't think people realize that. I don't think people realize that there's different types of unions, and there's different factors that come into union jobs. So when people hear right to work, or they just hear how much money union workers make, they assume like, oh, these guys are all lazy. They don't work. They don't do anything that a private sector couldn't do if it was non-union. But that's not true. Like the amount of training that we only have that because we paid in. Like we have a multi-million-dollar training center that we paid for. We own, the union owns it, and it's the members that own it. It's not some union leadership somewhere that owns it. The members own it. We pay into it. We have a say in it. We vote on how money is allocated for that training center. There's no non-union training centers for pipe fitting, at least in Minnesota. Maybe there is somewhere. I know maybe for like pipeline workers that are just welders or just fitters, they could probably go to just a welding school to learn that. But for pipe fitting, there's so many different things that we do. We have one of the most diverse trades. Like we work on a ton of different things. It's not just welding. It's also soldering and brazing, threading pipe. We do nylon, which is like a plastic pipe, PVC piping, CPVC. We do a lot of different things. We work on steam. We work on hot water, chilled water systems. We work on gas, oil, high pressure, low pressure steam. Pretty much anything that's pipe that's not drinking water. So plumbers do more things that are like drinking water and wastewater. We do more of the chemical applications. And there's a lot of pipe fitter locals that are also mixed in with plumbing. So there'll be like a split local. Minnesota is one of the few straight pipe fitting locals. So that's all we do is pipe fitting. And there's a lot of jobs. Like anytime you see or hear about data centers, we're the ones piping them in. Anytime you hear about powerhouses or nuclear plants, we're the ones that pipe them in. Anytime you see a heating system or air conditioning system, we're the ones that run all the piping for that. We set the boilers, we set all the equipment for that. So that's what pipe fitters do. It's kind of a specialized trade. It's not just some random guy can just come in off the street and start doing it. There's a lot of Minnesota. We're the most licensed trade up here. We carry 5 state and city licenses, which is that's not average for pipe fitters across the nation. I guess I don't know, maybe the Minnesota thing. Minnesota kind of leans left, so maybe they have a lot more regulations up here. But for us, them regulations are actually good. They're not anti-business. So I don't know, just some things going on, man. I just been keeping an eye on the right to work thing, and we'll see how that goes. Like I know one of my instructors, he organized in up here. He was a pipe fitter down in Kentucky, and that's a right to work state. But they went right to work after he had already left from down there. So I was asking him some questions about like people he's talked to down there, how it's changed, and I guess the ratio is not really that much in our trade. Some other trades may be affected a little bit more. But as far as pipe fitters work, we got so much specialty stuff that we do that there's not really as many people coming in that are trying to come in not paying their dues. Like, and then if they do, like, people kind of generally are gonna have a dislike for them. So you wouldn't really want to be one of the guys that just comes in and is knowing that you're a guy that came in for right to work and you're not paying your dues and everybody else on the job site is. It's going to be a little uncomfortable for you there. You don't want to be the only guy on the job site that everybody hates. So kind of hopeful that it will work out. There's a lot of work coming up. So as far as work wise, that sounds good. It just we'll see how these contract negotiations go. See how our raise comes in. And yeah, man, I don't know. About to go do a little bit of rigging. Hope everybody have a good day. I just uploaded a little video earlier, a little short that I had in one of my journeymen getting a little bit of welding, and I haven't been really getting too much welding. So a lot of times on the job site, even though I pass a weld test, I'm still an apprentice. So I do some welding. I've done quite a bit of welding, but I think it works out in the contract that usually if there's a competent journeyman that can do the welding, they're supposed to be the first one to do the welding. So if you see me posting more shorts of other people welding besides me, it's not because I don't get to weld no more. It's just because a lot of times they're the first pick to do the welds. Sometimes journeymen feel like they don't want to do the weld, so then I end up getting to weld more. Or sometimes their journeymen are in all other places and they need somebody else to weld, so I'll pick up the slack and start welding. But I'm not welding all day, every day. I'm doing a lot of other stuff, doing a lot of rigging, doing a lot of layout, doing a lot of setting hangers and typical apprentice stuff. Sometimes I'm just up there tacking up pipe and then running down line, setting the pipe, tacking it up, and then the journeyman come behind me, weld them out while I'm setting up the next pipe. Kind of trying to work as an effective team. So it's not always gonna be me welding. Sometimes it'll be my journeyman welding. Everybody I work with at work, man, they're all real good dudes. So it's not just me talking. I got some smart people that can show some things too. So we'll see what happens next week. Maybe I'll get some more videos for y'all. But in the meantime, y'all have a good day.